guys, it's Brian with the Dirt and Snow channel. I had this entire thing filmed and realized that number one, I used the wrong frame rate. Number two, my sound was absolutely terrible because I was just running it through the GoPro, but we're gonna use all of the equipment that I have purchased, get my money's worth here, and give you a review of kind of the ride of this truck. As you saw in my last video, I was able to actually get it out on dirt, and it was very confident doing 50 miles per hour down a dirt road, no matter how big the ruts got. Of course, that's way out in the boonies where they're kind of used to driving on dirt roads, so they're actually very well maintained, probably better maintained than a lot of our highways. I might venture to guess that here in Colorado, we might have the absolute worst stretch of interstate highway in the nation. Perhaps I'm just speaking in hyperbole, but it sure does feel like it. Up north of Castle Rock, it always will feel like you're just sitting on a jackhammer. And, but yeah, let's, without further ado, dive into what I think of this kit. It took me about 5 hours to get on, and here is my build sheet. So starting at the front, we've got the sway bar, the active rate sway bar from Thuren suspension, as well as the track bar that is designed and matched in length to this kit for how much you're bringing it up. The coils that I used were the ones for the 2.75-inch lift up front, also the Fox shocks all the way around. These are monotubes, so they do get some of the same cooling qualities as like your remote reservoirs, just not as good. So you can't do like a full day of beating on them, maybe half a day. And then in the rear, I went up an inch with the coil system. So yeah, here are my thoughts. The active rate sway bar was awesome. If you do go into a driveway and one of your wheels hits that driveway, it's not gonna toss you and try to throw your head against the window. It's going to be a little bit better. I mean, it's not going to quite give you that half-ton ride that I feel like a lot of these YouTubers do promise. So get that out of your head. It is better than stock, but you know what? Better than stock is not saying too much, because the Ram factory really likes to use a very stiff sway bar. And I mean, that's for safety. They want to make sure that you have the capability to use this truck to the best of its abilities 100% as soon as you leave the showroom. And so if you are putting the tallest in-bed camper you can fit in there, you're not going to roll the vehicle over the first time you take a turn. So then we'll move on to the track bar. I did take off an old kit, and I had used the factory track bar, and as I said in a previous video, that factory track bar really showed its wear right at about 15,000 miles with the kit on. I think I reached about 25,000 miles before I was like, hey, this thing rides like garbage. So this one is awesome. As I have been driving along, like if you hit a bump with one side of the truck, it's not gonna send that steering wheel the opposite direction. That was one thing that I really noticed with the factory track bar, was that was where the issue was. And then moving to the coils and shocks, the front end is super dialed in on this kit. And I mean, I'm sure it's a lot easier to dial the front end in because for the most part, all these trucks are going to have the same weight up front. So unless you're putting like heavy duty bumpers on and things like that, it's a lot easier for them to valve the front end, and I am super pleased with that. However, the rear does still bounce you around quite a bit. Like I said, we have that stretch of highway just north of where I live, and I commute through that area of the interstate quite often, at least 4 times a week, and it still does bounce you around. You still feel like you're fighting that rear axle. However, I've driven that stretch with about 200-300 pounds in the bed. I had my old kit in back as well as all the tools that I was using, and it did drive quite a bit better. And I think that that's just a result of Thuren having to valve these shocks accordingly, not knowing how much you're going to have in the bed. I mean, a good majority of the hauling that I do is toys to the lake and mountain bikes up the hill on shuttle runs and things like that. But all in all, I really think that this is an awesome kit. It does perform quite a bit better than stock, especially once you do get on the dirt roads. However, do not get sold on this idea that it is going to ride like a half-ton truck or an independent front suspension truck, because that's just not going to happen, and it shouldn't, with how stiff they have to make these and what kind of capability you're still going to need from this truck, even though you are lifted. So hey, hopefully that clears some things up for you, lets you know exactly what I think of this kit, and give this video a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. I'm really trying to get this thing monetized so that I can throw more parts on the truck, and I could really use your help doing that. So if you could help out, that would be awesome. Thanks, guys.